call this the Scrape Knee Blues. Okay, so that was just a short little demo there. As I call it, the Scrape Knee Blues. Some of you may have seen my post lately. I took a little bit of the header at Spadina Station yesterday while I was originally set to deliver some pedals to Paul's Boutique, but that didn't happen because I ended up going to the hospital instead for some stitches. Anywho, this video is all about really just doing a new demo for the clone of the OCD type circuit I do, the Compulsion driver. Yeah, so I'll start out showing you the dry tone. I'm just using my Stratocaster, my Mexican Stratocaster into my Blues Junior. Yeah, so that's the dry tone. And so, as you heard in the intro there, I was using the Compulsion driver for more of a bluesier type tone. Which, you know, with lower gain settings, I'll remind you, I've done other videos on the Compulsion driver, but volume, gain, treble, the switch there that changes the roll-off frequency of the treble tone control, and the bass control. And anyways, the current setting is just works great for you know, adding a little bit of breakup to you know, a blues tone. Yeah, but so if you want something that's an alternative to your, you know, tube screamer thing, something that's a bit flatter in the EQ, but still has a good amount of oomph, the Compulsion driver will do that. Because it has that bass control, you can tailor it to have like a thicker low end or have it thin out a bit so that when you push the front of an amp, it does kind of the same thing as a tube screamer. Like maybe not as much of a push in the same frequencies, but it will allow you to, just because of the way gain structures work, when you're boosting into the front end of an amp, if you have a full range boost, which can be nice if you just want if you're going into a completely clean amp and just want to raise your level, that can work fine. But as soon as it starts getting to the point where the amp's going to break up, if you even if the EQ of the boost is flat, you know, overdriving bass frequencies, they start becoming really flubby fast, which can be cool in its own right because it can really fuzz up the sound. But for those of you wanting like tighter, more focused sounds, it's good to be able to cut it. So I'll show you. Here it is with the bass all the way up. As opposed to it cut all the way. So there's a clear difference there. I had it right in the middle there because, you know, I just wanted a little bit of low end for, you know, a little bit of hair on those lower frequencies, but not too much for that intro jam there. But the bass control is, I lifted it from the Paul Cochran Timmy circuit. Go check that out, by the way. That circuit is amazing, and I actually talked to Paul Cochran once on a Facebook group once, and he actually gave me a couple good ideas. I don't know if he remembers that because I'm still a new builder and probably wouldn't have noticed me then. But anyways, check him out if you're interested in the Timmy circuit. But back to my own pedals. I've been using that kind of Timmy overdrive bass cut thing on a lot of pedals. It works backwards from what you would expect, so turning it counterclockwise is full bass, turning it clockwise reduces bass, but it just seems to work well. And it's attached to the main gain stage of the circuit, so you know, it will mess around a little bit with your like the gain structure, but it in a very workable way, so it's not that big of a deal. And it actually does, because of that, it does help get some cool tones. So let's turn up the gain a little bit. I'm going to engage, I have my Stratocaster wired in such a way that I can lift a push-pull pot and it'll turn the middle and bridge pickups on in series, which gives a sort of fuller, not quite a humbucker sound, but so it does I mean, as you heard earlier, it works well with single coils, but if you hit it with a bit more output from your guitar or a boost in front of it, it reacts nicely with that too. said, because the bass control is attached to the main gauge stage, it you know, the difference is much more pronounced here. Just put it back to normal single coil mode for the bridge. It's a little subtle, like not the same as if I had a humbucker in the bridge, but it does give more output from a fully single coil guitar. I may do a video on some of my gear other than the pedals I build, just so that you get an idea of what I'm using to build and prototype my pedals with. But back to this. So I'll put that there back in the center, because, well, you already have a clear idea of what the bass control does. Now let me turn the gain. Actually, I'll turn the gain all the way up, so just so you can see what we're working with here. So that's just with a Strat. Like, you can imagine what it would sound like with humbuckers, even more of that. There's plenty of gain on tap, and I'll just play a couple seconds, but when you have the bass turned up. I'll turn the bass back and put the gain back in the center there. So the next thing I'll show quickly is the tone control for the treble. So this is it all the way up with, I forgot off the top of my head the frequency it rolls off when the switch is in the up position, but... then you turn it back. And anyways, with the switch down, it's a lower cutoff frequency, so... Hopefully the difference between that is showing, but as you can hear, it's slightly warmer in the down position with less of the top end fizz, which is useful if you have a very bright setup. The actual tone control I may tweak a bit on future revisions. Just so that it's a bit more consistent between the two modes, and so that the taper has a better sweep to it, more even control. But you know, the way it is, it's a perfectly usable tone control that you know, helps shape the treble to your needs. I just might tweak it a bit for future revisions, but as this is part of the initial limited first run, well, it's based off the original OCD type circuit. I'm gonna put the gain down now. Maybe all the way, just to really show what it can do. I'll put set the EQs like that. So that's what it sounds like with the gain all the way down. So nothing special, like with where I have the volume set. It's actually, with the gain all the way down and the volume set there, it's actually a little quieter than Unity. But so there's a very noticeable volume boost even with the gain all the way down. So if you want to use it, like, just because the EQ controls are pretty flexible, like even with the gain all the way down and the bass control being part of that gain stage, it's very noticeable, the difference in EQ, and same thing with the treble. It's the same idea. So you know, it's not exactly like a 100% flat, clean boost, but you know, if you just want something to raise you up a little bit, this can do that. Plus, because there's so much gain on tap, you can give yourself a slightly dirty boost, which yeah, so like, well, I'm obviously using it into a 15-watt Blues Junior, which, although I've modded to have a bit more headroom and a few other things, both my tube amps are modded, so they're probably not the best thing for if you're wanting a demo into like a stock product, but it's still Blues Junior. But anyways, even though mine has a bit more headroom, it's still a 15-watt amp, and when this hits the preamp of it, it just does that. It starts doing the breakup thing in the preamp of the amplifier, just because it's being hit with so much signal, which is really where the bass and tone controls come into play here, to avoid things from getting too fizzy or too fluffy. If you're using it into a much higher headroom amp, like like a Fender Twin or something like that, like you may still have to really be careful with the EQ, just because the amp won't be compressing enough to soften up the highs or anything like that. But it'll be less of a dirty boost and more of a full-on clean boost. Well, go watch that pedal show or anything like that, or read up on forums, and you'll learn more about how boosts and gain structure and all that stuff works. Like, I keep touching on things like that in my videos, but well, I may come off as knowledgeable, but there's people who can definitely explain it better than I do. But just letting you know that, well, the main point, this works well for as well for clean boost settings in some applications as it does as a standalone overdrive. Anyways, the last thing I'll show you, I'll dial back the volume a bit, is actually, I won't even show you, it's really not that much. So I put in an output buffer stage. The pedal is true bypass, but the output buffer stage is after the volume control. What this does is it means that no matter where your volume control is set, the output impedance of this will remain consistent, and that will allow it to play nicely with any pedal further down your chain, because a big complaint about circuits like the OCD, or at least the older version, I think Mike Fuller fixed it on the new version 2. Well, he did fix it, but the big complaint was that because of the impedance issue with just the volume control going straight out to the out of the pedal, it would sometimes mess up your tone. Sometimes it would sound just too dark and boomy. Sometimes, but if you turned on a delay or something that inherently had a high input impedance, again, go look up someone else who can explain impedance much better than I can. But like, for example, if you turned on a delay pedal, all of a sudden the tone would change from, like, maybe you've dialed it in to be like nice and warm and crunchy. All of a sudden you turn on a pedal with better impedance and it gets all fizzy and thin and whatnot. The output buffer gain stage I put in here, that just makes sure it's consistent no matter how things are set, and will work more evenly regardless what. So it's just a bit easier to use with your other pedals. Okay, so the end of the video clip there kind of got a bit cut off. However, I do want to say that I do have a few revisions I want to do to the pedal. I'm going to do an improved gain stage for the output buffer, and an even better one to put at the front for just the best possible signal integrity. There'll be MOSFET gain stages that just make the signal as clear as possible, and just make sure there's very, very little ill effects in your signal chain when the pedal's on. That's about all I have to say. Here's a picture of the Strat I was using. Just a Mexican Strat that I've customized quite a bit, especially with the electronics. There's my Blues Junior view of my pedals on the floor. The Bugera I sometimes use in other videos, but not this one. Yeah, so if you like the sounds of this pedal, then by all means feel free to contact me at tomfreemanaudioeffects@gmail.com. I haven't put anything about this on my website yet, but my website is tfaudioeffects.com, and of course you can get all the latest updates on my Instagram, and Facebook pages, also called TomFreemanAudioEffects.com. I'm saying the name of my business over and over again, but by all means, if you're interested, just like, follow, subscribe, do all that stuff to any and all of my social media outlets, and I'll try and get in touch with you and give you as much information if you reach out as I can. And there's actually a sale going on right now until March 11th. It was originally going to be till March 4th, but I extended it due to certain circumstances, mainly relating to my knee, as I mentioned before. But for now, the Compulsion driver, it's $130 Canadian as opposed to $150. So if that price point tickles your fancy, just send me an email or a message or whatever, and I'll see if I can help you out. Anywho, hope you enjoyed the video. This is normally where I'd play a closing lick or something, but yeah, I'm redoing the video late at night, so I don't have the ability to play my guitar right now. Anyways, thanks for watching.